Mask off. This is the real podcast. 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 Yeah. This is the real. Yeah.
Yo, what up, yo? Welcome back to the Real Mask Off Podcast. Today, we be diving deep, like Matrix level deep. We're asking the question, are we really living in a Matrix, or are we just mentally trapped?
Right, because sometimes it feels like we just stuck on repeat. Wake up, work, grind, pay bills, sleep, do it all over again. But who really running this show? Is it us or something else?
Exactly. The Matrix ain't just some movie anymore. It's real life. But the question is, what's the Matrix? Is it the government? Is it the system? Capitalism? Or maybe even the streets?
Damn. Man, I feel that. It's like everything designed to keep us distracted. From the minute we born, they got us in school, then work, then social media, all while telling us we free.
Right. And the social media, that's the new Agent Smith. Always watching, always distracting. You think you woke scrolling TikTok, but
Right.
really, trapped you in a loop of other people's lives.
Real shit, bro. Facts. And in Detroit growing up, where we make even crazier shit, like trying to survive, but the system's designed to keep you down. It's like the Matrix, but with broken street, like some boarded up cribs and shit.
Yeah, the hustle culture.
Yeah.
It's a trick too. Everybody's pushing that grind till you shine, but it sometimes just it keeps you locked in.
Right,
Just
man.
chasing fake money, fake clout, fake dreams.
Real shit. It's so real quick. So the real question is, bro, man, is there a way out? Or are we just upgrading to a new illusion?
That's what we'll break down today. Then we're going to talk about what it means to be woke, but still stuck. How do you know if it's really free or just trapped in a different cage?
Real talk. We got stories from the streets, like real life shit, bro, that'll make you question everything.
Yep. So grab your red pill or your blue pill, whatever you're ready for. Let's get it. We interrupt today's programming with a special report.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. We are the Bacon Brothers. That it's my dad's podcast. You gotta listen to my dad and his friend podcast, the Will Mac-Off podcast. The Will Mac-Off podcast. That's in the club.
Yes. Hey, yo, welcome to another episode of the Real Mask Off Podcast. Hey, we got some work today for y'all.
Glad to be here with you guys.
For real. We really gonna chop it up with y'all and get y'all tapped in with us today, man. We talking about like how to what we
got
about today, hey, Boogie?
We got something that we'd like to discuss. I want to ask you because I might have a different little version or a different outlook on it. But I was going to ask you, do you think that this is a Matrix? Do you think that I mean, we only have, the movie, I guess, to kind of, do you think our life is like that, more like the Matrix or a Matrix version? Do you have an idea? Is it a Matrix? Is it something bigger? Is it God, Jesus and saints and angels, heaven and hell, overseeing? You die, you either go one place or the other. What do you think?
Well, my personal,
this is
like, I do kind of like, I don't want to say, like, I get the ideal of the Matrix, if that makes sense, right? So, like, do I believe that it's like program?
Hang on. I just want to, I don't mean to interrupt you, but when you say you get the idea, what? So just on the level of knowing what it is it, so we just have this vision in our heads. Is it like then the movie? Your real self is sitting somewhere plugged in.
Now that I don't think it's that. I think that we're like naturally like moving plugged in, but like we're programmed with like frequencies, the way that we're actually built and designed, like off energy. I believe we're built off energy.
So the Matrix describes, in a sense of, I guess, what we're doing now. But does it describe like what we're going to, like, for you in your eyes? Start again. Where is it? Like, what does the Matrix do? What is this all about then to you, or life? Is it a Matrix? Is it? And if it is, what is it?
I think it's like
stuff.
I think it's like, you know, like the man. It's like how we view like the whole world as like a game, right? Per se, but we have the movie as a reference point, right? So like if we're using the movie, I think that like, yeah, we're being programmed, but like off of a frequency though. Not we're not like physically plugged in. They're sending frequencies to our energy to like make us react and like cattle mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yes, I believe in the Matrix, just not like in the like, you know, the literal sense. Like I believe it's happening, yes, but it's not happening the way that they showed you it. They gave you like Easter eggs where like, hey, this is what's happening to you, and like these are gems that you should pay attention to. Not, I can't tell you exactly, but if you pay attention to what I'm saying to you,
so it's not the literal sense in where your shell is plugged in somewhere and they're running shit through you. It's more of a sense where you're born and they're controlling you through frequencies and through bullshit on screen, food, radios, and food. Yeah, definitely food.
Yeah, it's just like everything is like adding to your consume. Yeah, everything that you consume, every type of consumption. Yeah. I didn't mean to overtalk on that one there. That was because we was thinking they said the exact same thing. It's like, yeah, it's just overconsumption of the shit. It's like how that philosophy that you're painted, that even got us on this podcast and shit in the first place as well, like how you like translated the way that they take old food and process it down basically to robot shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that whole dynamic, but it's like everything is like a microcosm. It's just broken down into many, if that makes sense. So like we are, it's all connected in the same, but like in different like realities. So like your reality is your reality, but it's being broken down as the same thing as mine. That's the connected part of it, right? So like that's the dynamic of the Matrix, I believe, that we're in. It's like everything that we consume.
So what are we feeding with that Matrix? Like, what are we? Is there a bigger beast?
A bigger engine, yeah, and that's what I mean, yeah. And I guess that would be the God inferiority, if I'm saying that word right.
Like it's not a god, but it seems to be our God.
It is, right.
Yeah. That's not the God, but it's a creation of...
Or is it?
Is it?
You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's what I mean. Like, so that's the dynamic of the Matrix, remember? Because it was like you didn't know what part of that was reality to him. Like, because you can die still in the game. You feel me? And that's the same thing. Like, in reality, right? If you're going to take, what's that shit called? Like the examples is another word, metaphors. Like metaphorically using the Matrix, yeah, life is that, because there's like you're the hamster wheel. You're the hamster on the wheel running, you know, to generate the fan that's blowing in there to keep the cage cool.
So it wouldn't be just as if I'm in your Matrix or you're in mine. We're side by side in a wheel.
Yeah.
Powering it.
Yeah.
All of us.
Every single one of us. And they're just figuring out its kinks. And that's the God from that dynamic, you know, like that's what I mean by everything.
So are we, so then in thinking like that, in thinking as the Matrix, would we then be considered as we're feeding a beast? We're really not even living our lives that we should.
Mm-hmm.
And we're feeding something else's entity, and when we come back, we're back into the same thing.
Yep. Or unless you figure out a way to disconnect yourself from the engine and soar in your design what you were designed for, because I believe everybody was designed to be something, right? And like we already discussed in past episodes, that you some of us are created to be the bad guy, right? Like like it's an even balance. It has to be the balance there. So it's like as many bad as there is good, but like if you are the good, we're talking to those people that are the good positive energy. The negative energies are what keeps us relevant in that aspect.
So what does the Matrix feed off of? Negativity, fear.
Yeah. Vain.
So
vanity.
So it would have to, then the Matrix would have to have pure souls, and it would have to have sim versions that would be evil to put the fear into the people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. To drive up towards the engine to God. Right.
To their God.
Whatever
or
God.
To their cult or whatever it could be, or
it's all one thing. It's everything's connected. They just changed up the titles to it because it was for a different class of people. So if this is what you resonate with, I can't tell you about snow, and your place never had snow. You had a snow god. And you're from a tropic place. You've never seen snow. You're like, what the fuck is snow? You don't have a snow god in the Caribbean. So it's in that dynamic. So
what's that there for? Why does the Matrix do that to something then? When that to be to create a fear and an imbalance?
Yeah. I mean, it makes you feel like there's some type of difference.
Makes you feel like you did something wrong. Past tribal experiences maybe think we did wrong, so we're being punished.
We're being punished for our ancestors, but our ancestors before us they were felt the same way, that they are paying for the sins of their ancestors, and it's just a continuum. So where does the cycle break? If that's the thing, right? Or is this just how it's supposed to be? Are you supposed to continue being the pattern of our ancestors going to have to pay for our sins, right? When we become their ancestors, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? So it's just like it's generational bullshit down the line. So it's like I said, that I think I'm using that word right when I say like microcosms, when it's like
there's a micro and a macro to things. Just the big picture is the macro, and little micros that I believe all connect to the macro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you get away from then your version of the Matrix? Then at some point, either you're thinking that there's a fate, a leash being, you being on a leash, maybe being led, or there's something that makes people do what they do, or do you live your life free, or do you think you live your life free?
Okay. Now, I think that's what I think you're rounding him back. Like, so that's what that, yeah. Cause you just live the same cycle over again. It's like eat, sleep, shit, repeat. You know what I'm
saying? So then in the Matrix, there's no purpose other than feeding some other beast.
Oh, okay. So I do believe that when you're born, right? I think everybody is born with a new cycle consciousness. So you don't remember your past life when you were here before, whomever you were here before. I do believe in reincarnation, if that makes sense. Like I think when you repeat the cycle. But the thing is, so like, now I'm a parent. I was born, I was a child, grew up, became a parent. So my parents may not have figured out how to detach themselves from the engine. They just played the game, right? Until they absolve. They're still alive, so they still have a chance, right? To change, to pull the plug out of the system and be who they are. Because when I feel like you never forget who you are, you just get told so much throughout your life that you can't do it. It's not possible, but you thought it, right? And I know you were created for something and you felt strong about it. Just like even doing this podcast, right? Doing this podcast, it wasn't like something that was like I said earlier on the sesh. It was like, bro, I don't even feel like it does feel like a job, right? But it doesn't like feel like a job that I'm tired of going to. Like I'm pissed, like, dog, I gotta do this again. It's like, no, I want to do this. Like it's feel like you're moving within your purpose, if that makes sense.
So you're somewhat breaking free.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? I haven't completely broken free. That's what I mean about the game, right?
Have you ever met anybody that has?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think I don't think we have. I think that like you, like that's why I think that we mesh like that. Like like Jay, I think that we are people that have been able to like. There's people in the world, yes, that I feel like they're detaching themselves from the system, but you can't like detach from it and be able to like completely be oblivious to it and not be able to play its game, if that makes sense. Because you got to understand the game. You have to play the game in order for you to understand the game, in order for you to beat the game. So solely, we understand that in this game called life that we're playing, they're playing to feed the engine. So if we're feeding the engine, and that's what we got to do, we got to get in where we fit in order for us to cause awareness to the people. Like you can consume, but be the people that's leading consumption into a direction that's feeding them positive. You know what I'm saying? Something that's uplifting them. You know what I mean? So like everything that is pressed in your face automatically is driven towards fear. The war is happening. World War III is about to happen. All of this, you know, the tariffs is causing conflict within internal, you know what I'm saying? Like, prices going up for American citizens. Like it's hard living out here right now. Everything is expensive as shit. Like just to go outside, you know, you like your bank account just start hitting negative as soon as you walk out the door. Ding, ding, ding. And like your account just starts emptying, right? So like it just dealing with that builds a different level of frustration. Now it's going into the summer. It's about to get hot. You know, it's a lot of things that are focusing all of this chaos, you know, so we can build this hero that comes and saves the day. Here to save the day.
So that being said, with the Matrix and you break free, where do you go when you die? Do you come back and feeding the Matrix again and have to?
Maybe you come back as a baby to a family that's already starting to break the chain, right? So you help them push the envelope. So you're now when you're the parent that learned from parents that had the broken chain mentality, and now you're slowly starting to break the chain because it's so far gone, right? This is actually hell on earth, right? This is the worst it's going to be. So like, why would there need to be a heaven in a Christian concept? Why would there need to be a heaven, a place that everything is great and everything is good for those who did good while being here, right? If this wasn't already here. You understand? So like that's why everything around us is breeding chaos, fear, and it forces you into a sense of needing security. Like I need to be protected so I can continue to push this agenda, whatever the agenda may be, but it's to feed the engine, and whatever that engine is, everybody's feeding it by doing the same thing.
They say that you start to, I guess, break away in a sense if you can say every day with everything that it is what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? That it is just what it is. Yeah. And you just deal with what's ever in front of you. Everything else is just noise.
It's just noise. And we can concur with that. Like we can literally say like, bro, it is what it is. And when you begin to accept it for what it is, so that's the thing that I pay attention to. It's like, yo, if a problem arises, like it popped up for a reason, right? It's you're living to learn. When you stop learning, you die, right? You know it all, then there's no need to learn. There's no need to live no more because you're not learning anymore, right? So, like every day you're learning, and everyday situations are not going to be good. Everyday situations are not going to be pleasant, but when they aren't, it's there to teach you something, right? I think that all of our hardships are lessons, though, that helps us grow.
But
right?
that's confusing me in a sense. Is
okay.
If this is a matrix that feeds the beast,
Mm-hmm.
there wouldn't be any positives good, right? Then what else this would have to be is a battle then between a version and a matrix, right? Because if it's a matrix and all I need to do is feed off the negativity of people and keep this circular, keep it going, I wouldn't allow any good stories to come through.
Well, I think this then okay, look at it like this then, like make it like a movie then. There's a villain. There's always had to be a villain. We spoke on balance. So if the engine is something bred negative, right? And we all have to be created. We all have to be tested in order for us to show ourselves approve that we are naturally good people, right? even in the world that is promoting negativity, and you still choose to be good. You were born into sin, if we're going to use the Christian basis, for most people grow up in that. So
you're born into the evil machine.
Yeah.
If you look at that translated to the Matrix.
And then you break yourself from that machine, right? And you align yourself back up with God, the positive energy.
The yin and the yang. So the world can't just be a matrix. It would have to have a yin and yang, a fight, an inner fight, an outer fight.
It has
something.
It has to, because it would be, then what the fuck would be the point of even calling it bad? It would just be the norm.
Okay. So then I believe then could it be a good version then of it, or a different version maybe? It would be more spiritual.
It is.
So I would, go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, I agree. I do feel it's spiritual. I feel that this is literally the spiritual battle, and that whole engine that we're talking about, these are paradoxes, like, we're just like giving different ways of looking at it. Yeah. But I just think that it's like it's always a battle of the soul. The soul is placed in this internal like hell, where you come down here and you suffer. Everything's about suffering, but you have to find the happy in the suffering, right? And then you find the happy in the suffering, and you align yourself in the positive. So no matter what happens to you, just like, hey, it's just another day. And what ends up happening is like your life begins to align like that, right? So then now you're plugged into the positive engine then, if we're going to keep using that identity, right? We're going to just plug into the positive. We're feeding that engine. And it's in a world that's, the beast is already bigger, because this is where it's supposed to survive. This is what it's bred at. This is its a firmament. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's locked in its cage, and we're down here locked in its cage fighting that war.
I think that it's more, to me, it seems that it would have to be more half and half. It would have to be that this earth as a whole would have to be half good, half bad. And you would have to either strive for a quote unquote heaven or go to a quote unquote hell. Because in some of what you're saying would be a double talk. If we're caged into this place, it's like I'm in prison already, right? There's nothing good that's helping me get out of prison. Because
the last time you was here, maybe you were still plugged in and you disconnected. You don't know what your last person, you probably was like about to disconnect, but you were still like caught up in the life.
So I got some attachments.
So you have to break from them now. And that's the whole journey. Maybe you are one of those people, like, just because you're the good guy now, right? And you are sold to that, maybe from your past time, you felt as though like you was in a disconnect. It was a limbo, like but you stuck on that, connected to the bad engine, right?
So in the theory then of the Matrix, is there a spirituality part?
Yeah.
And what would that be?
Yeah, your soul. Like, I think we're all connected by flesh and soul, right?
So how does the Matrix get a hold of our souls?
When you when you plug your flesh to the Matrix, right? So
we're going back to being literal of plugging ourselves in.
Like because flesh is the only real thing we have.
Okay, so and that's the actual. I'm plugged in.
You're plugged in. Boop, boop, it drops you in. You know what I'm saying? I forgot we ain't got to make the sound effects no more. We can make the sound effects ourselves. But right there, I wanted the sound effect.
Squirted out of earth.
Yeah. Like you're born, you're plugged straight in to the game. And I don't, okay, so you said you think it's 50-50. I think it's more like, I think it's like 70-30.
I think it would have to be an even balance.
I don't think it, and on this, and I'm going to explain the reason why I don't. And you are definitely subjected to feel and believe what you want to believe. I'm just going to give you my perspective. I think it's like 70-30, because this here, the whole point is to get back connected into the spiritual world. You have to go into the flesh because your spirit wasn't aligned correctly, if we're going to use it from that dynamic, right? So I think your spirit will be tested here. So you go to a place that's predominantly negative, and to become good, it has to be an achievement, because everybody's not striving to be there here.
I don't think that it comes to you like that. As far as, I think it would have to come to you as 50-50. What would be the level of, it would either either good or bad. It wouldn't say, then what you're saying is the entities, matrix, whatever we're talking, whatever is in control is saying, do you want this? I'm giving you 70% of this bad, or do you want this 30% good?
But because this 30% good is not for it's not for everybody when you're born into a world of sin. And that means that Christianity and every religion is fraud then too. And they're double talking too, because that's basically the dynamic that they're pushing when they say things as though like you got to strive to be good, but who the hell wants to live the good lifestyle when the bad lifestyle is so much better? I can go look at the hoes at the strip club and go fuck all the bitches I want to fuck. I can cheat on my wife. I can disrespect my family. You know what I'm saying? I can be whatever the fuck I want to be out here in this world.
So Earth isn't a middle ground. It has 1 foot in hell already.
I think it is hell. I don't even think it's 1 foot in. I think you are in hell, and you're like, okay, not literal hell. You're not burning, because that's what like people are taught. Like you're burning, but you're not. You're not burning. Your soul is burning because it's out of its element. I'm stuck in this body.
It's definitely out of itself.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? When you have a soul that's bigger than your flesh, and it's trapped in this little bitty body, stuck in this motherfucking thing that I have to do this, and this just for me to survive in an element that I'm not. I was too loud. Survive in an element that I'm not. You know, I'm not really. I'm really vibing with. But I told you, like, also that all stems back to like your programming. Think about it. So when you're born,
you're pre-programmed.
Mm-hmm. Because by your parents.
No. Prior to, well, okay, you're saying inside of them, in a sense, inside.
Because they already got a philosophy.
Their DNA has created you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you come out, you're already pre-programmed from something else.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then you have to try to find yourself.
You have to find yourself, because everybody has their own individual journey too. That's where that runs that back line to the last podcast where we have, if we're going to drive it that way. So like you're born, and your parents were already believing one thing, right? So you're taught all your life that you make collard greens in this pot, and you're like, you go to school, your greatest grandchild goes to culinary school and they make greens in this particular, you know what I'm saying, dish.
Tastes better to that person like that too.
Right. But you thought it was this way the whole time, and now you're the person that comes to break the news to the family, like, we got it like this, and you got your great grandma there that's able to tell the story of why she used that pot. And she say, baby, I don't know what pot we were supposed to use to make it, but this is the only motherfucking pot we had in the house. So that's the reason why I made it in that, and it was big enough to carry those greens, so I was able to cook my greens in that pot. So we've been making it. I just passed. That's how I taught your mama, because that's the only damn pot I had. And I taught her mama, and her mama, you know, all the way down to you. Now, so you're like taught a way to do it. Now, all of us are on that hamster wheel, because that's how they program us. So you're born, they tell you once you become of age, at a very young age, they put you in the school, sit you in a room, tell you like, hey, stop having all that energy. Sit your ass still. Why do all kids have all that energy? Because we're energy beings. When we're instantly born, we're told that it's wrong to feel that way. So you go through your whole life feeling bad for being yourself. They naturally break in your thought process at the beginning of time. When you go to school, sit your ass still, don't move, or you're going to get in trouble. I'm going to tell your mom and dad that you failing, and you're going to go home and get in trouble by your mom and dad because you're failing. But you're just an energy person. Your energy is like, I want to move. I need to be outside. I need to feel the energy. I want to get out there and play. My mind don't want to be trapped in this room telling me that clear your eyes and all that other shit.
Where then does the God's Bible then fit into this matrix? Because if he gives us freedom of choice, like I go back to 70-30, right? Well, I thought it would be 50-50. I gave you freedom of choice, but no, the odds are already stacked against me from the house. So is the God from the Bible not the real God? Is that just a cult subjected to a lower being who claims to be a god?
Could it be? Where we at? That's why you have to line yourself up with yourself, because you, like, all honesty, right? When you're going through life and you're doing certain things, you have certain feelings on the inside, and then certain people will tell you shouldn't feel that way. You're just being selfish and blah, blah, blah. And that's not, I don't think that's the reality. I think that you have a feeling towards certain things because it's just innately wrong. It's against your morals. You believe something internally in your heart, even if it was something that was taught to you. You grew up and still wanted to believe that, because there was shit that my mom and dad told me that I should believe, that I grew up and I was like, I don't believe that shit. Because the math didn't math to me. But then there's also things that my mom and dad told me that it's still to this day that I believe, and I still see it and I feel it in my spirit. Like, okay, you should always treat people right. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing my parents always was like, you know, treat people the way that you want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? Even if they're like, even being mean, you don't like lower who you are to act like them. Try to bring them out of that. And if you are able to do that, you know, that just helps you be a better person, and it helps them to become a better person.
Yeah.
Like when we was at the store the other day, you remember? We was at the store, and the guy in the store was like, he was like bitchy, right? He was,
Oh yeah.
he was like real aggressive.
Yeah.
And I just was like, yo, hey, I was like, yo, bro, you know, how's your day going? Good. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, man. Like, I just kept like picking him to see like, okay, he's having a bad day. And like by the end of it, I got him to laugh. You know what I'm saying? And it seemed like I watched his mannerisms change, his whole persona changed, you know. Like he was like more like welcoming at that point.
Well, would you have to give him grace due to the Matrix?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because let me put a little different spin on it. Because
Okay.
you have the Matrix in the sense where I think it takes some responsibility out of our hands.
Yeah.
Of why we do what we do. Where I look at it as this, I believe that prior to us being born, we've written our path.
Oh.
We've written what we're going to go through. So if I take the evidence of so above, so below, and a micro or a macro, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I take that and I look at what we go through here on earth and what's created,
Mm-hmm.
as far as steps through schooling, steps through life, different ages mark different steps for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
I look at it like, what if we mimic where we came from?
Oh.
So we have, for example, a council on the other side. We have councils and laws here. There's laws on the other side. There's rules on both sides of the fence. I believe that there's this mimic of it, but where it does get kind of, we fuck with it to the point because of our own selfishness. So I figure that, okay, as a ball somewhere, hopefully close to the creator in the cosmos somewhere, I got to go to school, right? I got to learn some things and come back and report here,
right,
to where I came from.
Mm-hmm.
So I write out a path, and I we all have to go through certain things. Like you have to go through kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, blah, blah, blah. I look at that as far as our levels of spirituality.
Mm.
So we come down here and we take on all aspects of life. That's why we have past lives. At some point, I was a girl. Some point, you were a girl. Some point, I was black, and some point, you were white.
Right.
We're all going through, literally walking in each other's shoes, and I believe walking in animals' shoes. You know.
Yeah, especially if you're someone that assassinates them.
Yeah. I feel like you're definitely going to have to learn what it's like to, to be something. Yeah. Especially if it's hunted for fun, not for wants and needs again, intentions again. That's where that comes down to, and that's where I think where, now we come here and that's part of it is like, hey, you're not going to remember anything. You're going to have some stuff over the years and years of you going through lifetimes, that's going to be embedded in your DNA, and you'll be able to somehow align your frequencies with that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to get through this new life that you got going on,
Mm-hmm.
But also at the same time, I believe that we all have at least one spirit guide. I believe that everybody out there has at least one spirit guide that has been through this thing so many times, thousands and thousands and thousands of times, that are just, they made it to that level.
Yeah.
And they're here to help us along. And that's somewhat, I think, of our consciousness. I think that is, we're put here on earth. When you look at the angel on one shoulder, the devil on one shoulder. Yeah. The flesh is the devil. That's my man on that shoulder. Yeah. That's Alex, the red Alex on this shoulder, Yeah. And then my soul, my good consciousness, my one that gives me like the butterflies in my stomach if I'm about to do something bad. Yeah. You know what I mean? You get stomach ache, you see the lights flashing in your rear view.
Yeah. Not even there, but you see them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the white Alex, the pure angel, of me.
Yeah.
And it's this duality and this battle within, but I'm already pre-programmed.
Come on now.
I just don't know how to quite get to it. So how do I get to it? That goes back to the so in, so out.
Come on.
The world is me and within me, and everybody else is just a different version of me.
Mm-mm.
That's where I say I like to look at it as we're bubbles bouncing around. I'm in my bubble. You're in your bubble.
Mm-hmm.
We're walking past each other, whatever. Everybody's bouncing around. But when you got families and relationships, you see cluster bubbles. You see, oh, these two guys are tighter. Their bubbles are connected. You know what I mean? Their worlds are aligning right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're on some sort of path together to do something, or a group of people getting behind something. You got 1,000 bubbles all together,
Facts.
in a march or in a protest,
Facts.
and you're aligning your intentions up with each other and aligning your frequencies up. So I feel like you go through school, and God, the real God, our real holy creator, doesn't make us alone. He doesn't leave us alone out there. He helps us by giving us a spirit guide, by giving us a conscious, by giving us a light. It's a light within us.
Facts.
And I feel like to just assume that it's a matrix, or just to even assume that it would just be this spirituality school, I believe is somewhat, it's like you can't, I believe it's a mesh of everything. Anything of consciousness that people have thought of and dug into and investigated and masses have done, I think it's creating a world of some sort, period.
Damn.
Something out there. What do they say? At least if you think about something for 17 seconds, remember we were talking about that the one day, you're thinking about something 17 seconds and it starts to become something.
It starts to manifest.
Yeah. Starts to manifest.
And I believe that's how life really works. I think the world is like a canvas, and you could paint for it. Like, you could paint the world to be whatever you want it to be. And in real life, like, if you pay attention, it's just based on who you are as an individual. You can paint good in this world, or you can paint bad. It's just, I think that you just have to follow your light.
So we went through with the Matrix where I asked you, I was like, where does it go? So you can either break away, or you're still another cog in the wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think in a spiritual sense, also too, I'm trying to live with good intentions. I think that's the basis. If you're building a house, you start with the foundation. That's it.
Yeah.
My intentions have to be good, right?
Yeah.
I go through, I do that, I die, and then I believe that when you die, that there's souls that are trapped in a line that have to come back, and that's the version of a hell to them, because they know that, man, when you make me a flesh ball again, the shit I'm gonna have to do.
Yep.
Because sometimes,
Get back.
I can say, anybody can say, like, I don't want to call out anybody, but there's that sad guru, the Indian guy. He's very wise, does tours all over. Everybody, a lot of people follow him. He talks about, the spiritual sense of you. He's very calm. Everything's great. But he's living his life. We all know, though, the Matrix can twist you up. And what if next day he's not living that life, going around speaking positive and doing all that, living that life with everybody, and thrust it into a war?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do believe that sometimes those circumstances that change without any of your control, that's been written.
Yeah.
That's part of that shit that's been written.
Fact.
And everything up until that point has been training, for you to get over that. And being like, hey, these next 2 years have been pretty good, but, these next couple of years after that, there's going to be some shit happening, but you've been training this whole time.
Yeah.
So you're going to get over this hump.
Damn.
So I feel like that's only how we graduate, is by doing that. So when we do die, instead of going in that line where those souls are going back, the people that were insane, right? Doing the same fucking shit over and over again and couldn't get past either their past traumas or addictions or whatever they might have. They have to come over and keep living those over and over again, Or if you're somebody who murdered a lot of people, you have to relive that pain, those people, that imprint over and over again.
Did you see that online?
You know,
that they're doing that with some prisons. I don't know if that was fake. I seen it on TikTok. They was like saying like they were giving prisoners that had long sentences that they could do their bit in like 7 hours or some shit like that. They do this cognitive test on you that takes all that negative out of you, and you won't even think to do crime.
coming from the government, that sounds like a lobotomy. That sounds like they just blow your brain, you know, electrocute your brain.
That's not like
erase
the Captain America shit.
That sounds like some Matrix
Yeah,
shit.
I swear to God.
Rape you. They might as well come out and say, "Hey, do you want to be reprogrammed? Because you're fucked up."
Yeah, you're fucking stupid.
So we'll reprogram.
Hey, but look,
you.
this is how they reprogram you though. The pain that the family felt and the victim felt, you have to feel that within those 7 hours, and you live it and you feel it, but then you don't remember none of it, and you don't remember any negative shit, and then you have empathy now and all this other shit, and it's like you get out in 7 hours compared to doing 30 years.
Shit, that sounds like.
That shit sound crazy as hell. Well, I was like, I don't know if that shit's real, bro. That shit's wild as hell, bro. Come on.
So a serial killer. So Ted Bundy murders like 30 women. 7 hours. He's absolved of all his sins. He feels 30 women's murders in 7 hours.
Terrible.
After forgets it all and is like, hey, I love you guys. I have a lot of empathy now.
Exactly. I'm chilling now. I ain't even tripping. Like, this shit is crazy. Oh.
I just feel like I look at life as school, man. And now I started off in the kindergarten, you know, I don't know what level I'm at. And now maybe I'm still in high school. I don't know, you know, but it's just, I think you write your path, you try to get a lot done in it so you can help get a lot of information, and that you can help, probably get your soul more pure. You know?
Yeah, man, that's a fact. For real.
But, you know, that being said, I think that there's definitely solid points to it all that we said today. And there's probably other versions of the way people might think life goes or what it is. Is it a schooling? Is it a matrix? I would say that there's definitely signs that there's matrix involvement, 100%. I'd definitely say that there's signs of some sort of spiritual involvement and growth. That there's definite, but in both cases, the bottom line is this: there's something bigger than all of us, right? There's something bigger than you. There's something bigger than me. There's something bigger than any one of you out there. And I think that if we can remember that, that will help us on our journey either way, whether it's a matrix or something else. If we can remember that out there in life is stuff bigger than us, and we might just have to be there to help each other, pick us up when we get knocked down. I think that there's at least some solace in that this world isn't that bad, you know. It can be really good.
So, what's the move? How do we break out?
Yeah, we break out. I think you started off by talking about that in the sense of when I was asking you about the matrix, is you talked about unplugging, and then I mentioned there's still some attachments, maybe from lineage, from our mothers and fathers. There would probably only be one way to summarize it. That to do that would be to have some realization, realize
you're in the system.
Yeah. Yeah, right. You can't. Yeah, you're right. Because if you don't realize that ever, you know what I mean?
I think second would be like to build real community, like don't just trust in the algorithm, you know what I mean? It's like trusting the people that's around you, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But hey, though, I mean, as far as today's episode for the Real Mask Off podcast, I would love for everybody to drop your thoughts, your stories, and your red pill moments, and your blue pill moments.
Facts.
Any type of moment that you might have to chime in on this with us.
Yeah.
You know, that's where we would like to at least have you guys be included.
Facts. Oh God, like, hey, look, type in with us and let us know your thoughts on this episode, man. And until the next time.
And always keep it real. Don't forget that. The real Mask Off
Podcast. Unmask everything. Oh God.
Peace.
You ever feel like you gotta wear a mask just to survive out here?
We're done with that.
Yo, I'm Austin.
I'm Alex, and we're two fathers, two perspectives, one mission, truth.
And on the Real Mask Off podcast, we talk real about fatherhood, marriage, manhood, and everything they told us to hide.
Hey, we've been through the struggle. We know what it feels like to be misunderstood, and we're still showing up.
With no filters, no fluff, just two men unmasking it all.
New episodes every Sunday. Just tap in and stay real.
You already know what it is.
Peace.